Welcome, everybody, to the Social Dig, the greatest underrated show on the World Wide Web. I am your host, Mr. Rob G. And as always, we're going to be digging into the topics to keep you talking and the talk that keeps you thinking. So come on in, kick your feet up, get an ice cold beverage, get ready to join the conversation. As we're here on the late night call-in show, back after a long time. We're going to go ahead and get into some good conversation. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and get some things set up here so we can make sure you guys can join the conversation. First of all, let me go ahead and bring up the fact that you can call our call-in line at 856-843-3444, or that's 856-THE-DIGG. Go ahead and lock that in your phone, because you can call that number 24/7, any time of the day, any time of the night. If you just want to leave a message, say hi. You can go ahead and leave a message with your experience, right? And if it doesn't curse or touch religious aspects, we can go ahead and play it on the show. I'm going to momentarily be posting a link in the chat where you can actually jump on stage and join the conversation with us here tonight as we get back into doing this thing here. And once again, as you saw last night, memberships are available. Become a social soldier today. The link is in the description of each and every video that we have. Any help that you can give supports the channel. Make sure that we can put on top level quality content for you for the foreseeable future, right? As we go ahead and get ready to get into this here, let me go ahead and see who has come in the chat. Now we got a couple people in there. Kitty Catty Whack, Lulu Bell, Jessica S. We got Derek Galloway, Woo Riders, DG is in the building. And then we may have some lurkers coming in. I try to get this over on X, but X is saying, hey, you need a premium subscription to stream to X. Okay, I guess I'll have to do that then at some point here. So with that being said, we'll just have our Twitch people joining us, anyone from Twitch and then from the YouTube side. But it doesn't matter, because it's all about you joining the conversation. So let's make sure that we can go ahead and do that. Let me put the link in the chat here. Fast Hemi, thanks for coming on in. Let me go ahead and do that here. This is the link to jump on stage. Jump on stage at your own risk. Actually, there is no risk, right? Because you can just jump in, and I'd love to have you come on and talk about anything that you want to talk about. That's what this is all about. So hopefully we get some takers here soon. We'll know. But outside of that, let's go ahead and do this thing for humanity. The Social Dig has been kind of dormant lately. I've been running some after hours reruns on here, to keep the activity going, because the channel needs to go on based on the message that we promote here. And that is the positive progression of humanity, as always, as I will show you here. Because it's nothing without this. Each and every one of you, this represents everybody out there in this world that we live in, trying to just get the truth on why we're here and things that we can do to help move the needle. We had an awesome show over there at the After Hours tonight. Once again, Reed Summers came in and gave us a different way to look at things, a different perspective. And I always appreciate that. You guys know that. I appreciate anytime steel sharpens steel, right? And I think that's what happened tonight. And it's just always a pleasure to engage in those types of conversations and be able to bring them to you guys, right? Because I know that especially the people that come here are like-minded people and want to think this thing through and want to search and look for answers. And that's exactly, what my goal is in this whole thing. It's not for fame. It's not for fortune. It's not to be the most popular this or the most popular that. It's so I can get on here and help have these conversations that move the needle, right? Yeah. I'll tell you what, when you talk to people, some people don't want to hear that sort of conversation. Like even in my own personal life, there's people that don't want to engage in these sorts of topics. They don't want to hear it. They rather just sit in the bubble that they live in and act like none of this is happening and, kind of go on with their day, which I can't blame them for that, because there may be a level of fear there. People could be scared. You know what I mean? Just point blank. Scared to, face the reality of what we're living in. And I can understand that, because on some levels, even though I want to talk it through and I know the needle has to be moved, I still have some sort of underlying, like feeling of, hey man, we have to go through this rough patch, and what's that going to look like, and the uncertainty part of it, right? And but I'm ready for it because we have to get through it, because we have kids and grandkids and great grandkids and all that out here that are going to inherit this planet, and I'd rather us go through that rough patch than them, right? So let's go ahead and make sure that we move the needle as far as we can here tonight. So I want to thank Lulu Bell. I want to thank Browndorf. I want to thank Fast Hemi. I want to thank Jessica S again, and everyone else who has shown up here tonight. And my guy Magneticus Attractors. I'm waiting for Magneticus to come in, 'cause he's always the one that likes to break the ice. However, Derek Galloway, you could always break the ice, man. You're long overdue, DG. You're long overdue. Go ahead and take the bait and click on the link and come on in. Otherwise, we'll just talk more about what we talked about tonight, right? Which I think is just so important, and that's the looking at this whole thing, this situation that we're in as far as humanity goes. It's just so important to know that it's a path, right? We're at a fork in the road. Humanity is not just individually. We come across a lot of different forks in the roads during our lifetimes of go right or left, and depending on what you choose will take you to somewhere else. So we know based off experience how making the wrong choice, you can't rewind time to go back and make the right choice, right? So once you become aware that you're at one of those fork in the road moments, as you get older, you have the wisdom to know, hey, this is an important moment here, right? And that's what we're faced with as humanity. So we won't have a chance to do this the right way again. Like, this is it. This is our chance to take the right path or the wrong path. You know what I mean? And how wrong that is, we don't know. So we can't see the future. I just know that anything against what we're doing now has to be the right path, right? So if left means let's stay with what we're doing here, and let's keep fighting wars, and let's keep having disparages between the rich and the poor, the have and have nots. If that's the left path, then it's obvious we want to go the other direction, opposite of that. So I don't think it's too hard of a decision to make in this moment, but we just know we have to take the steps to make that, to progress us down that path, and I think it's just very important to do that. Derek Galloway saying maybe you will. You've been saying that for a long time now. We've been doing this after this call-in show for almost a year now, Derek Galloway. You've been promising that since the beginning. Yeah, yeah. Oh, a spork in the road, huh? I guess that makes it a little more difficult. Definitely. Hey, Tim in the backwoods, thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you showing on up here at the call-in show. We have, and I need to actually go ahead and pin this to the comment section here. So give me a moment. I'm just gonna blase blah as I go ahead and try to add this to the comment section here. So give me just a moment. For those who don't know, who are just getting here, we just finished doing a 3-hour show over at Spaced Out Radio, which was an awesome show. In case you missed it, it's definitely one I think you may want to go back and watch. Very impactful conversation. We can, like I said, delve into some more of that thought process here tonight. But let me get the link to this show so I can pin it in the live chat here. Otherwise, I hope everyone's evening has been going well. It's always good for me. I'm like I said, as long as I can, as long as I feel like we did something to move the needle, I'm satisfied. Usually, I'll go back and rewatch shows, and I think I'll do that for this show tonight. Give me just a second here. Was a little underprepared because I thought at the end of the show, I'm like, wait, we have a show to do over there, so let me go ahead and get this all set up here. Thanks for your patience, everyone. You mingle with each other for a moment here. All right, 636. All right, there we go. All right, we are almost there here. All right, almost done, guys. Almost done. Okay. All right, it looks like there's that. And let me pin that comment, guys, and we're good to go. Pin that message, which it's pinned. Okay, so now we're good to go. So now it's in the chat. It is pinned at the top of the chat there. Anyone who wants to go ahead, step in and just maybe elaborate on the conversation today. How do you feel about the threat narrative when it comes to these UFOs? Because like I said, it's definitely something that it would be silly to not think of both sides of this conversation. And like I said, I love Dave Scott to death, but at the same time, I can't understand how any one human being, and welcome Maggie M10, thanks for coming in. I can't understand how any one human being uh, can look at this and not understand that they should be prepared for both sides of this conversation, because we don't know what the outcome is going to be. Nobody knows what the intent of these things are. We just know that they're here. They're definitely here. People have seen them, these crafts, come into the sky. Let's just go down the basic steps. We've seen these craft in the sky. Many people have seen these craft. We can agree that there are things in the sky that we don't understand. Okay, check that off the list. All right. Look at Lonnie Zamora case. The Lonnie Zamora case. Look at the Virginia case. Look at the Ariel school, all the school cases where these craft that we confirmed are in the air have actually landed on the ground. So we got that. Just check that box. Craft in the air, came from space, landed on the ground, check. Okay. We also saw these things get out of the craft, whatever they are. Hey, Tim James, UFO Tim James, thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you showing up. Overlander BC, appreciate you coming on in. Says, would like to hear Dolly Saffron debate Dr. Jacobs. I got to get Dolly Saffron and Preston back on the show. I'm trying, hopefully, I can get that done by next week. We'll see. But with that being said, yeah, so we've confirmed that they're in the sky. We confirmed that these craft have landed on the ground. We also have confirmed that some things that don't appear to be human have walked out of these craft, right? So I think those right there are the key components to saying that there's something strange going on. And now we have to think about why they are here. Uh, Derek Galloway has a topic. If anyone likes it, why did CERN start up the full harvest moon on the full harvest moon the other day, drawing energy? That's a good one to go down. We can get down that path too. We have some time to cover a few different things, but um, once we realize, okay, we can check off the fact that these things are here. They've landed. They've gotten out their crafts at different points in time. So now it's thinking about, well, why are they here? They're not just here to visit. I mean, and maybe they are, but let's think of both sides of that, right? So just because we don't know, I mean, and I guess I could point to a couple cases and I'll think about those, but you know, for the most part, there hasn't been reports of them getting out the craft and doing anything malevolent. There just hasn't really been any evidence of that. Anyone who has had an experience with these things has generally said that they're love and light. And anyone who has said they had been abducted by these things have been brought back home. Now, there is a flip side to that because, yeah, some people who have been abducted, if you haven't been brought back, well, you're not here to tell that story. So we probably would have zero stories of encounters where people were abducted and not brought back. So let's think about that. We got the missing 411, which we touched on the show earlier tonight. So that could be a thing. It could be the reason why there's missing 411 is because people have been abducted and have not been brought back. So that's a possibility. And let's see. Also, another side of this would be some people who have been brought back feel like their encounters while being abducted were not nice encounters. They experience pain and different things of that nature, right? So there are different people who had experiences who have been brought back that felt like it wasn't a pleasant experience. Okay. Then the other thing, which Reed covered today, which is pretty awesome, that when you look at what a lot of people say, well, hey, they've been here this whole time and they haven't done anything yet. Well, you got to look at it on their time scale. What does their time scale look like? What? And I'll check that. I'll mark those things here. I got yours, Maggie. I got Derek's as well, and we'll touch those topics. What is there that says that we understand or that any of this stuff is okay? They could be telling us anything, right? These entities, any put it in perspective, which really is going to resonate with me and sit with me. Now I'm going to rethink a lot of stuff and apply that new thinking to some of these scenarios where potentially it's disinformation, right? But I already had the base understanding of that, because who's to say that these things are telling the truth? I just can't get past that part. Like, what in your mind lets you know or tells you that what these things are telling you when they talk to you, that they're being truthful? How do you know this? It can't be just a feeling. Oh, I feel that they're telling me the truth. You got to have proof that they're telling you the truth, right? Because I could tell you that there's a bridge, that I own a bridge in San Francisco, a red bridge is for sale, and you'll pay me for that, right? Because you don't need the proof. You just can be told, hey, I own the bridge, and you're going to go ahead and roll with that, right? So that's kind of the whole idea, right? Just because these beings are looked at as things that are higher than us doesn't mean that they're telling all the truth the entire time. And we do have a guest in the back here that I'm going to go ahead and bring up, guy we've talked to many a times, and that is our guy Brown Dorf. What's up, Brown?
What's up, Rob G? Salute.
Man, how
Greetings.
you been, bro?
Good, brother. Just here lounging at the crib right now, and had a an interesting evening with Jessica Jones earlier tonight. She invited me on to her show, so I did that. And then you're doing the invite here, so I'm like, let's keep it going, man.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, Brown Dwarf has a channel. Everybody, you guys need to make sure you're over there, subscribe to Brown Dwarf, because he's doing awesome stuff, catching awesome stuff as well. And we still have, we've done the show together, but we still have some linking up to do. We still got,
That
it's still a list of things we got to do, man.
Definitely, man, and I'm glad we're in touch. As far as like phone wise, so through text and whatever, we can get a hold of each other. We have been messaging each other here and there. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I definitely can't wait to meet you in the flesh, and I
Yes,
know
sir.
that's gonna happen.
You know it.
Yeah, I feel it. And that'll be exciting. And yeah, there's a lot we could do definitely together as well. I see a lot of things that we could touch on, and definitely, like you always say, moving the needle, right? I love doing that. As I don't know if you know, but some of you might know. I love the turntables. I got turntables, so I love my needles. I love to scratch and all that. So
Ah,
moving
okay.
the needle is very important to me.
Yeah, hey, I like that, man. Because as I think you know that I'm a musician, man. I'm an artist. I've done stuff, and yeah,
Right
we,
on.
we we're gonna have to link up on that alone, right
On
there.
that level
Yeah,
too, bro.
yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
I got some
That,
beats. I got some beats over here for you, man. That I
All
need.
right.
I need some cuts done on that, man. So we're gonna link.
I got you, man. And I love making beats myself. There's some equipment that I still have that's pretty known and like kind of old school, but still, there's new versions of it, and I'd love to talk to you about all that. And then that also can be music, could be another little avenue in this whole subject that we're into here. So
I thought about that, Brown Dwarf. There's the guy show I used to be on, Rod Martin. He had a guy who had done a intro for him, and it was. It was okay. He touched the subject and did some stuff, but I've always thought about how I could marry the two. I'm keeping them separate for right now. So my music name, I'm under a totally different alias over here, and then I'm doing this over here. But I know I want to do this at some point, and I'm
Yeah.
just I don't want it to be corny and cheesy. I want it to
Mm-hmm.
mean something and matter. You know what I mean? And so you got
Yeah.
to do it right. You got
Yeah,
to
like you say, you got to drop some gems, man.
Exactly. So I'm glad, man, that I know that now, man. That's cool. And Brown Dwarf has a store out in LA, man. You guys, if you are in the area, and I still got to go to this store too. I seen you online and seen you going live from the store. So I see the shop is set up real nice, man. So I got to go out there and do it. You said you're
Yeah,
in,
come.
where are you at in LA?
We're in East LA, basically the city of East LA, borderline Boyle Heights. Pretty close to downtown LA, so we're right in the heart of it. And yeah, man, you got to come check it out. We were having activity outside of the shop. We've talked about that before,
Yep.
and a lot of that has calmed down as of late. I mean, there's still things going on, but it wasn't like it was not a little while ago, not too long ago. It was real active and almost on a daily basis type stuff. And I've noticed that a lot of that has calmed down as of late. So I'm wondering what's going on. We're still getting a lot of the military type of activity. We get these
Mm.
flyovers of military choppers that fly by really low, which is kind of alarming to me. And I know we do have, there's bases in the outskirts of the county and stuff like that, but yeah, it just trips me out that they happen to fly over right over the shop, and we're having some of these strange anomalous activities up in the skies. And I'm sure there's other stuff going on ground level too, that there's little things that I've poked around at, but I know there's a lot of weird stuff going on ground level, not only with the humans, but I'm sure there's some weird other stuff going on, and we kind of touched on that with Jessica Jones tonight. And yeah, man, weird
Shout out,
stuff.
shout out Jessica Jones, Crypto Huntress. Shout out Jessica, man. Yeah, I
Now,
got.
see, I like how you got the purple bandana tonight. I'm
Yeah,
rocking the green here.
yeah. I got my green one over there too, man. So I'm trying to switch it. I got the American flag sitting over here too, the
I,
California flag, man. I'm just
I,
switching.
I, I I imagine like you got a special, like a little section for your bandanas, kind of
Yeah,
like how Dr. Dre had his little setup of all
hell.
of the was it the Ben Davis
Oh
shirt
yeah,
from
yeah,
his
yeah,
his
yeah,
one
yeah,
video. I imagine Rob G with his little set of do rags, all different
yeah.
colors, and then
You
his
know it.
bandanas.
You know it, man. Trademarking, man. It's all about trademarking, man. Especially in this field, man, because you gotta do something to stand out. And I just,
Hmm.
I know that we have the messages that we try to promote are ones that really should be heard. It's not, we're really trying to figure this thing out. We're not sitting here messing around, and we're not sitting here just telling stories that
Right.
to pacify for the moment. We're literally trying to move the needle. And that's why I said the other day, because once again, I finally hit 500 subscribers, which I think is awesome, right? And it just let me know that there are that many like-minded people out there that really want to do something here, right? Because when you look at it, I've looked at channels, I've studied other channels, and you'll have someone with 50,000 subscribers, but they only have 1,000 people that'll interact with the channel, and it's like, okay, well, what's really going on here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Whereas when I have 500 subscribers here and we have like 150, 200 people that get involved, that means people are connecting with wanting to get messages out there and move the needle. And that to me is a beautiful thing. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, man. No, and I see you growing more and more. I mean, you definitely deserve those thousands, and you're gonna get there. I recently my channel had kind of like got a little explosion of subscribers, and I was able to pass the 10K. And I think what happened there, I
Woo!
was like, they gave the option to remix videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started remixing certain videos that I thought were very interesting to me, and some of those took flight, and I noticed that subscribers just blew, those videos blew up, and so I was able to surpass the 10K. But like you're saying, my normal videos for the most part, don't get very little views. I would say even percentage wise, I'm not great with percentages, but percentage wise, I would say it's less than 10% of what the subscribers are, which I find kind of weird too. Like, okay, I get it. Maybe I'm not making the same content that attracted those people at first. Um, but it's along the same topics. But I would think that having that many subscribers, at least posting videos, that some of those people would be notified, and at least they'd be taking a look, at the video, so at least those numbers would be higher. I think that would make some sort of sense. I don't think it makes sense that my numbers are super low after that pickup of subscribers. But anyway,
Yeah,
I do believe there is a formula, and the algorithm changes, and it's a matter of tapping into that and figuring that out. Um, and also the quality of stuff. I think you definitely got the quality. You're very, I've said it before. You're very professional, and you got what it takes. And I see that you got heart in this. You're serious, like you said. You're serious about this, and I feel it. I see, and I could tell that people also feel it. And so yeah, we're down to ride with you, Rob G. And yeah, man, I can't wait till you get past 10K.
man, congrats on your 10K. Yeah, I knew you were you had a few thousand, I think, last time I checked. So you definitely, you over there blowing it up. And you know what I think
Trying.
it is? I think what YouTube needs to do
Mhm.
is they need to be able to have a way for the channel or the creator to reach out to their entire fan base, not more than just a notification. Like, how can I maybe get an email to this person that
Mm,
subscribes, just so you can, because they may forget. Like, I look at my subscriptions and I have stuff that I did subscribe to a while back that I haven't watched. And it's not because I don't want to watch it. It's just because I've subscribed to all these other things, and you only have so much time in the day. But if
right.
I were to go back, and when I do go back and I made it a purpose to go in and kind of clean that up, then I'm like, okay, now I have the ones that I look at, and I'm watching stuff that I had forgot that I subscribed to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think that's what the thing is. They make it so easy to subscribe to a channel that all of a sudden you have 100 people you're subscribed to, and you can never get to all those people. But
Right.
they know, they once they figure out, okay, and sift through that and be like, okay, these are the ones I want to keep. Then you start getting those views back. So they got to figure out a way for the creators to tap back into that, because they subscribe to you because there was a reason why they did, right? And it's just
Right.
like they just have to be reminded that, hey, this is where it's happening, and actually look at all this stuff that has happened since the last time you were here. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, and
And
it's for their bottom line, they should want to do that.
yeah. And we talked a little on this topic earlier tonight also, is that I also think that a lot of people, even big channels, have been getting their numbers on their subscribers unsubscribed.
Yeah.
Um
Oh yeah.
and there's a whole thing. Yeah, even right now, I had talked about this a few months ago, because it had happened a few times to where, yeah, there were certain channels, that even like channels that I constantly follow, and I know I'm subscribed to, I was getting unsubscribed to them. And even when I would subscribe, hit the bell again, I would like go to another page, come back, and it was unsubscribed again. And
Yeah.
it's still happening, and it's happening right now. And so I wonder how how that's affecting certain channels. And but the thing is, I am still getting their notifications, but I wonder about other channels that I haven't seen. Like you say, you sometimes you don't, you kind of, they kind of get drowned in the feed and stuff like that. How many of them have just been completely unsubscribed? And yeah, you forget about those channels because there's so many channels. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff happening within YouTube right now with all that.
Some people say that and yeah, that for surely happens, the unsubscribing thing, because I see way too many people mentioning that. And I think what it is, they have this little automated system that goes through to look for bot accounts, and then it unsubscribes those bot accounts. But I think
Hmm.
it's obviously unsubscribing people that actually use their account. So I don't know how they need to fix that, because yeah, that it affects the creator's bottom line,
Yeah.
and the algorithm at the end of the day. So it's like, yeah, they got to fix that. There's some work to do, but I was watching. They have some really exciting things. They're doing things with the community tab now. Did you see that? So
Hmm.
there's some awesome stuff down the pipeline. I can't wait. But then also, we're in a niche sort of field here, right? And you got to wonder, because some people always say that they target channels like ours to kind of shadow ban because of the type of things we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I see that as a real possibility,
For
man.
sure, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that one bit. Um, just because I think even earlier you were talking, you guys, who was it? The guest Reed you
Yeah.
had earlier
Yep.
tonight, and you guys were talking about. I think it was something towards the effect of why isn't the public? I think you asked them why isn't the public like why don't they basically release through the public what is going on, and I believe his answer was like it's deeper than just like the public level, that possibly there's these ETs already out here, and some of them have their nefarious agendas and stuff. So I
Hmm.
think it's a deeper agenda that's going on. People talk about certain world orders and stuff like that going. So it's on different levels and onto like even spiritual levels and beyond. People could come down to even as far as a God and the devil type thing. May come down to, and yeah. So there's a warfare going on, spiritual warfare, and a warfare here also on our level. So, and then it's online as well. It's out. It's everywhere. But and it's not. And this is also not to like pump fear, like, oh my God. There's also the good side of things. It's just how you look at life, your perspective, and I think this is a special time, a good time to be around, and we got a
Yeah.
lot of tools at our that we have access to, and we should be using all this stuff to our advantage to move that needle, man.
Yeah. I'm under the belief, if you have a podium to stand on, you owe it to your viewing audience to take that path and to lead them down the right way. Like, there are some people that have a podium and sit here and make money be the first thing that they worry about, and so they're just worrying about how can I get money out of these people, instead of, hey, let's do something good for the people and try to direct people in the best. And I don't consider myself any different than a viewer, truthfully. Like, I'm a viewer of like, during the week I watch Dave's show as a viewer, right? I'm in the chat, I'm in there, just a normal person doing my normal thing. And it's all about, that's the outlook that I have, man. We're all in this thing together, and we have to make decisions together, right? I just happen to have a channel where we're talking about it at, but at the end of the day, I'm just a viewer, just like anyone else, or just a member of humanity that's
Yeah,
trying to make sure we go down the right path, because it's so important. Like I always say, we're in a situation where, if you look in history, we all read history books and we saw different times where things went bad, and there were decisions that could have been made at those historical points to take us a different direction, and for whatever reason we didn't do it. And we're just at one of those new historical moments that'll be written about in future history books. And it's like, we have the opportunity right now to be part of which way we go. Like, what'll be written? Will it be written that we fumbled the ball and we didn't take advantage of being able to change, or society, and for the better? Or will we be heroes of the history books and said, man, everything that they did, definitely helped move humanity, and we won't see the benefits, we'll be long dead and gone when they reap the benefits. But understanding that we're doing it for them, what I'm saying, that just makes it even more like the passion for you to do it. And that's kind of why I sit up here and I do this. That's why I do it, man.
yeah,
Literally.
yeah. And even that was beautifully said, and even the ones that did it before us, and now here we
Yeah.
are. So we gotta keep that torch going, and not fumble, and yeah, no, I'm excited to be a player, and I love being part of a team, and it's an interesting moment here when you think about all this stuff, man. And yeah, man, like you also say, what is it? What's that word? The phenomenon is real. you
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, man. And so I like when you say that, because it's like, yeah, man, it's going down. It's happening right now, and every day, every moment we have here that we're alive, it's a moment to experience all that. And so, yeah, you don't want to get caught up and be, stuck on the couch or whatever, like you guys were talking. And yeah, get out there. There's things you can do that get you involved if you want to get involved, with this. And yeah, you could do it from home, or you could be out in the field. And there's a lot to do, man, that you could share with people, and help people out and stuff. And yeah, man, I'm just, working on that too, trying to be a better human, and
yep,
play my role, and seeing how we could also, like, innovate things too, whatever it may be, and of course, taking the old school approach of those that came before us.
yep.
I think that's a big thing too, and I love tapping into old information and stuff like that. And yeah, man. And then earlier you're talking, I don't know what the whole subject was tonight, if you had a particular subject, but man, let me know if you got any other questions or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And kind of to tag on to what you were saying there, it was, when we say the phenomena is real, that's more so because there's so many people out there that try to make us believe that it's not real. I mean, it's literally everywhere you go. There's skeptics that are just like, nah, it's not real. No,
Yeah.
no, it's not happening. It's not real. And so it's like, man, okay, we're gonna dispel that because that's BS. Because we know, because we've had experiences with different things, so we know that the phenomena is real. But then it's just about, just like you said, you don't may not have to go outside the house to play a part in, but we have to be more active because I think a lot of us, especially with this being internet, like if we had to go to town meetings to have this conversation, people would be getting outside and we would be going to a location to have these conversations, and I think we lose that because we have the internet. So a lot of people are so complacent in just being a couch warrior and just sitting on the couch and talking about it. When back in the day, they used to get out and march and get in groups of 1 million people, like Million Man marches and all sorts of other marches that they had to get up, leave the house, go get together, go to that place, say this is what we want. But we're just so used to having the luxury of sitting on our butts at home, which I
Mm-hmm.
think goes totally against the old way and the way that works, right? Because
Yeah.
even if we get together with 1 million people online, it's still not as effective as 1 million people out there on those streets, out there making this thing, spreading the word and making it happen. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
And so that's where I'm at with it. But we were talking about the whole threat narrative side of this because Dave, and I just totally just I love Dave. I keep saying that, but we don't see eye to eye on certain things. He admits
Yeah.
that all the time, and it's
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah. And I think that's cool.
yeah, exactly. I do too. I actually do too. That's why I love getting in there with him. And then sometimes I'm in the audience and he's saying some stuff. I'm like, man, bring me on, dude, because I
Yep.
need to say something about that. But then I just save it for later. But yeah, but we
I
when
love
we
it.
talk about the threat narrative, and I'm just like, I just don't understand how knowing what's going on here, knowing that these things are for somewhere else, we don't know what they are. We don't know if what their intentions are. They could be here to do some good stuff, or they could not be here. And it's just like, why wouldn't you be in any other situation? You would prepare yourself if it wasn't extraterrestrials. If you were going to the forest, if you were going down the street at night, you would make sure that you have okay, chances are I'll go to the store, everything will be fine. But just in case this is that night that something goes down, then I need to make sure that I'm prepared for that. And it's just, I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that should be just a common sense approach to it. I think people are more so willing or hoping that these things are here for good things and not and really I think missing it if they don't at least consider that there could be something else going on here.
Yeah, I think, as far as, like, even just speaking California, they always have told us about the big one. And there's certain things, even like with these fires going on. I think not that many people are prepared even for those types of things, you know. I think people are just so caught up in the rat race, and then also financially, you know, things are rough right now, so it's kind of hard to prepare for those types of things, you know. And yeah, and I think so, speaking on the level of, you know, what you're speaking on, I think people are less prepared for that. And then yeah, there's a lot of, you know, the believers and stuff. It's hard because even within, you know, call it the community or whatever, there's so many different thoughts and beliefs. You know, some believe that yeah, they're all bad, or they're all good. I believe, you know, there's a mix. It depends, because there's so many different types of these ETs, or what's the other word, or
NHI.
non-human NHIs. Yeah. um I believe there's so, and sometimes when we talk, like even earlier when you were kind of explaining this, it's we kind of tend to speak about these different types of beings that I believe are almost like as one, you know, one. So it's like, oh, if the aliens, well, there's I believe there's all different types of aliens, so which ones are we specifically talking about? And yeah, that there is negative and positive ones. So yeah, it's just once again, your perspective in life, where you're at, what you believe in, will kind of it leads you to these types of ETs, I think, you know.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it's like, which ones are we talking about? And I do believe also is like a big thing is the potential of possible of this invasion, right? The, you know, UFO
False,
invasion
false
and all
flag.
this that people have talked about. Yeah, you know, and the false flag, you know. So I think that's really going to get a lot of people, you know, that the false flag is, and I believe that it's possible it's going to happen, where you're gonna have like a mass sighting, and I believe also what people are gonna expect to see too, which is, you know, whether it be a triangular craft or your typical saucer, is like what we've kind of been programmed through movies and through the media, um, of what these things are, what they may look like, you know. And so I think the false flag is going to be a lot of the programming that we've gone through. So I'm keeping myself aware of that. You know, if there's ever another major sighting, you know, Phoenix Light type, I think we got to be very aware of that. You know.
Yeah, definitely something to consider, and I love to jump into that. We got Maggie M10, one of our members
Hey.
who jumped on the stage. Maggie M10, how
Woo-hoo.
you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to have you here joining the conversation. What did you have? I know
Yep.
you heard us talking here. Did you want to add anything or bring something up?
Um, well, I missed the show earlier, so I'm not sure exactly what the threat
Oh, okay.
context. I mean, I
And
do understand what the context is, obviously, but I didn't. I
and
can't
it's
add to any points as
it's a
such.
good
But I,
greetings, Maggie. I'm glad you jumped on. This is so cool.
yeah, I just thought I would be brave and
Yeah,
have a go.
go for it.
That's right. Yeah, like I said, you understand the context of threat, and that's essentially we had actually, Maggie. I'll say this: read he approached the conversation probably a little different than you may expect someone that is considering maybe there's a threat narrative. He's not just coming out saying, hey, there's a threat. He's actually going through a logical process of thinking about, okay, what do we know, like what do we know, versus
Yeah.
let's stop speculating and let's take what we know and kind of apply that to if there could be some sort of ill intent behind the things that we actually know. So it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that sounds like what's needed, in my opinion. Not that I know too much about anything, so um, you know, but to me, it just seems like we could speculate till the cows come home. You know, like
Yep.
nobody really knows for sure unless you've seen something for yourself. Even if you have seen something, you still can't really draw a conclusion from it because everything's so. weird, or of science that we don't understand, or magic, or whatever you want to call it. You
Mhm.
can't really draw something from something you don't have any previous experience of. And
Exactly.
and I think that's why it gets so convoluted when and people have great ideas, but essentially nobody really knows.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my
And
opinion.
I also feel like it, that there is a lot of people who are into this and who feel that they know and believe a certain way and their way is it and and it could be some far out stuff. There's even cults and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um and so yeah, it's just I agree. It's just most of it is like we don't know, but I do go by feeling as well. You could I believe we have these senses for a reason. So,
yeah.
you could kind of feel things out and kind of tell if something is good for you or not. And I also wonder, Maggie, you being from Australia, how you know how the Australians kind of view this, and in your particular part of Australia. I don't know where exactly you're at, but yeah, I wonder about
Uh,
your people down there.
yeah. We're not too far from Sydney, so I'm sort of in the southeast of Australia.
Right
Um,
on.
so yeah, but I mean, I don't really know. I haven't really spoken to many people who live here. Um, my husband speaks to a lot more people than I do. And he's part Aboriginal, so he gets
Oh wow.
a spiritual take on a lot of it as well.
Right
Um,
on.
Hmm.
so uh, uh, and from elders and whatnot. So and my daughter obviously is as well. So I don't really know. I know that there is a following of Yowies here specifically. I know more about cryptids than I do ufology in Australia. I know more about ufology in the US than I do here. But I'm learning. Um, but I do know where the best places to go are to search the skies specifically. And I'd love to get a psionics. Like I've been watching your stuff, Brown Dwarf.
Hey,
Um,
yeah. I know
because that would be cool.
Rob needs to get one too.
Yeah,
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 I do. I
for
do. I
sure.
definitely do. And yeah,
But
that's awesome. And Maggie was talking about Yowie, everybody. So Yowie is essentially what we call Sasquatch out in North America. So just in case anyone was wondering. But yeah, Maggie. So your husband is part Aboriginal, which is awesome to know because do you?
Yeah.
I can almost imagine. Do you guys get to sit down and have conversations about this topic? Is he into it as well?
Yes, yeah. Well, him and I go out in the bush together and we do our own. I don't call myself a researcher. I call myself a hiker that happens to see things. Like I don't like to label myself. But we have found some stuff. We had some crazy stuff happen. I don't know whether you want me to share it or not, or
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, it was like Christmas time, and I found there was lots of rain, and I found a footprint, which I think is a footprint. I can't say for sure, but it very much looked like a big footprint. Um, and I did some more looking around, and there were some boulders, large boulders that I don't think an average man could pick up. They had been moved, and so I took pictures and whatnot. And then I went back there. It's sort of like 24 hours, 36 hours, I think I must have gone back. And I did a cast of the footprint, but it had sort of dried up a bit when I did it. But uh, I went back a couple of days later to measure the rocks to find out how big they were. And as we were leaving, the only way I can describe it is that it sounded like something fell from the sky. That's all I can tell you. It sounded like something metal. The only way that it makes any sense to me is if something fell from the sky and landed on the ground, this big, massive metal, huge sound, and it scared me to death. And I turned my camera on, I put it behind me, and I started walking. I was like, we've got to leave. We've got to go. We've got to leave. Um, and I can't explain it. I cannot tell you what that was. And I just cannot. There's nothing in my, apart from something falling from the sky, there's nothing I can really tell you as to why that happened. But I do know that these sorts of sounds happen with Yowie or Sasquatch or Bigfoot or whatever sightings, but I don't know what they are, and I have no idea what it was. It was terrifyingly loud. It's so loud. Like, like
Well,
a car had been dropped from the sky.
you did the right thing. Just like you said, you're not a researcher or a hiker that happens to see things. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what I would have done, because researchers would have turned around to go see what that was. And
Yeah.
I don't advise that for anyone. I advise to do what Maggie did and walk away, turn the camera, and face it the other way, because you might catch something, but then, hey, you might not, but you're safe.
That was quick. I was like, bye, I'm
so,
gone, gone,
so
gone.
you wait the 36 hours, Rob G, and then is a good clearance time to go back.
Exactly. Be
Oh no,
safe.
no, but it was the last time that I went out. No, the third time. I went out 4 times. So the third time the metal sound happened. The first time I got the footprint, the second time I went back to cast it.
Gotcha.
The third time the metal sound happened, and then the fourth time. It was funny because when that sound happened, I didn't feel right. I felt really weird. Like I felt weird, not
Wow.
right. You know, like I was on edge, and I'm never on edge in the bush. I know what I'm doing, and I feel comfortable. The only thing that really worries me is snakes. Like, and even then, it's not that, because they'll be gone before you get anywhere near them. But I felt weird, and it was just really strange. And but my husband wasn't bothered. I just looked at him and I was like, "Didn't that scare you?" He's like, "Well, yeah, kind of." And I was like, "I think because I've got more knowledge on that sort of stuff than he does. So I think I was preempting something going to happen. So I was just like, just go." But he just says he accepts this stuff happens in the bush, so it doesn't. You know, he's made for it. Maybe I'm not, but he is. He's made for, like you
Well,
said, researchers would go and see what it was. You know, but that wasn't me.
yeah, no, well, it sounds exciting to me. And I don't know, Rob G, if you're familiar with so I think she's talking about these metallic sounds that people have reported out in the woods and stuff, and around or during a Bigfoot activity. And yeah, and it's something interesting I found, because I have some audio recordings out of Yosemite National Park. I
Mhm.
had set my audio recorder out and got some interesting, what I thought were vocals. And after those vocals was this metallic type sound, almost like a door slamming, or trash lid bin closing, which could have been possible. You know, that there
Mm.
was trash bins in the area, but I just thought it was very odd after those vocals. So, yeah, it is a thing.
Yeah, my husband said it was like a dumper truck where it tips up and then goes back down. Like
Hmm.
he was. That's what he said. It sounded. I was just loud, very loud, like so loud, like I was about to get like smashed by something. It was just
Like
so
a
close and so loud, you know.
like a clunk, like a clunking sort of metallic sound. Oh, I
Hmm.
got
It's hard to explain. Like I said, like the only thing that I could explain it from is if something was dropped, something big from a height was dropped and landed. Like that is literally the only way I can put it into words, because it was such a bizarre thing. Like what? And it's just trees and rocks. Nothing. There is a metal structure, but it's so far away. It's a toilet, like an outside. We call them a long drop, like a compost toilet. You know, like. But that's so far away. It wouldn't have made that sound if something had hit it. You know. It's just. I don't know. It's in my boxes. I have no idea. That's my
Yeah,
box.
did you ever share those pictures of the casts or the tracks or anything?
I
Or
haven't put them on my own channel. That it's on a disc. I put it on a disc, one of the
okay,
discords that I'm on, but
yeah,
I
no,
haven't published them myself.
Oh,
I'd
you
love
have a
to check.
channel?
Oh, I haven't. There's nothing on it.
Oh,
I've had a channel for years because I used to share stuff with a private link to people, my friends around the country, around the world. But I haven't actually got any. I want to. I want to start it. I think you guys are awesome.
yeah, you.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't.
I want to subscribe. Let me know so I can
yeah.
get in there and subscribe.
Yeah, we'll see. Thank you,
Yeah,
though.
well, that's good. Yeah, so I'm not really versed with Bigfoot. Like I said, I'm gonna go out with Brown Dwarf and try to find something there, because I would like to see it, because I had, when coming into ufology, there were moments where I hadn't really embraced Bigfoot yet, where ET's okay, Bigfoot, I don't know. And then I hear a lot of stories from different people, and I hear some really, really, you can tell when a person is really truthful in what they're saying. And sometimes when I feel that, I'm like, dude, this thing is real then, because I
Yeah.
feel this person had an experience, and it's like, whoa, what did
Hmm.
that feel like? And so I definitely want to see one. But I'll be in the back, sort of where I'm the first to go, right? Because I'm not going to be the one leading the expedition into anywhere. And that's not me. No.
Yeah, and the good thing, Rob G, you can never guarantee to have a sighting, but possibly some weird activities, some sounds.
Yeah.
You never know what you might find. You might find some tracks of your own. But the good thing also is that what I like is like some of my people, my friends that I go with, um, just stick to the Bigfooting. I do the Bigfooting, and then if nothing much is happening, or at the same time, you could skywatch as well.
Yeah.
So you could do
Yeah.
both, man.
I
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
take my binoculars out when I go out there. I've always got my infrared binoculars. That's the best that I've got for now.
Nice.
I've got it all on me. I've got my parabolic mic because I do a lot of audio stuff as well. So I do a lot of listening. Um, for
Well,
whatever reason, and I've also got my binoculars, so I'm always looking at the sky as well. I
Yeah.
tend to do the same thing.
Yeah, that's cool. You got the parabolic mic. Not a lot of people. I got a small one myself, and not a lot of people really use those. And I think
Oh,
those are fun, and they look cool too.
yeah. That is great. It is good fun. It is the only thing I need to get a better one. But what I've got at the moment works. But I need to get one that I'm able to listen to in real time, because what I'm doing is recording and then listening back, and then recording and then listening back. So I just like everybody, just want to get better gear, you know.
Yeah.
well, guess what? Jessica S says I just subbed to Maggie,
Hey,
and I
hey.
just
Oh,
there, and I subbed to Maggie too. So Maggie is at 13 subscribers. Let's make sure we get Maggie up there, because that might be the thing that gets her to turn this thing into a channel, and I would love to be a part of that being a thing. So yeah,
oh, thank you.
everybody go sub to Maggie M10.
Who just pulled up in the red truck here?
We got, just pulling up in the red truck here, we got Bim Jim. Jim from the chat is here,
Ah.
and he's joined us
Hey,
on.
Jim.
No worries, mate. I speak Aussie. I lived there for a while. I met an indigenous knowledge keeper on my second day in Australia, near Perth, and I was just blown away by this woman and her knowledge. Oh, wow! So I came back to Canada, and I met the knowledge keepers, and listened to them and added their knowledge to my other knowledge, and I wound up going through portals up in the mountains here, because I live out in the country in Canada, right near the Pacific Ocean, and we got mountains all over the place, and a lot of indigenous people. And the forest is very spooky here now. So I do my research, because I have a lot of paranormal experiences. So I'm doing research since I was 20 years old, and I'm now 75. So that's a heck of a long time. Now, okay. But in 1983, I first went through a portal up in the mountains here near where I live. I went through the portal on my dirt bike. And of course, I had never heard of portals, never heard of them. But I knew something really weird happened that day. And when I went and told my dirt biking buddies what happened, they didn't believe me. So, it was 1983 or so, and I just carried on with my life. But eventually, I went back up to that place where the portal was, and I went through a portal again. And I thought, wow, this is weird. But I had a very scary paranormal experience. That was the most scary paranormal experience in my life. In 1989, I went through the portal. I went up there, and I saw a ghost logging operation. See, because after you go through the portal, you're in a different place, a different realm, a different space time. And I saw uh, a logging operation that was out of time, way out of time, and the loggers had black faces. Like their faces look like a black smudge. And that scared the hell out of me. That's the only time really I've been really terrified by any paranormal experience. Other than that, I just walk up to a paranormal experience. I just walk right up to them, say hi, and I've had conversations with aliens and stuff like that, right? So anyway, now that I've told the background story there, I have to say that at this time, just very recently, I had an advancement in my research because I'd never met anybody who knew about these portals up in the mountains here. They're in certain locations, right? And I'd never met anybody. I tried to tell people, nobody believed me. I just met a guy, young man, about 20 years old. He rides mountain bikes up in the mountains there, eh? And he knows. He, I did not I asked him very general questions like, "Oh, have you ever been over there?" And he uh, he told me that he knows the portals. He's been through them with another friend of his. They went through the portals in 4x4, and he has found it. They've found it. So other people know about this now. I know now. Now my degree of certainty has risen up over 99%. I know what's up there, man. I know there's portals up there. And I know, but it's secondhand knowledge to you and firsthand knowledge to me, right? But now I know what I know, you know. So, um, so this is a major advancement in my research that has, you know, that I've been doing for, well, since I was 20 years old. What's that? 55 years, I guess. That's how long I've been having paranormal experiences. Probably about 40 paranormal experiences. So it's about once a year. You know, my life will be going along just totally normally, and then all of a sudden, something real weird happens, right? And then everything goes back to normal again. So yeah, the way I put it together now, now I've studied ufology and paranormal and all that. I started putting all my experiences together, and I come up with my best speculation is that I work for the aliens. My work is environmental engineering. I have engineering degrees, and I've been just doing whatever I feel like doing. But it turns out that's what the aliens want too. So, you know, I just I upgraded my engineering degree to environmental engineering. Then I went online into the local university, took courses, went online and started advocating for the environment and studying it a lot. Like I've advised the Green Party of Canada. I've given them advice and they've followed my advice because I know a hell of a lot of environmental science and all that stuff. So, so I was doing all these things, and I also got into whistleblowing against nuclear power. So I'm anti-nuke, and I can back it up with my degrees and stuff. So I started online. I started debating nuclear engineers and all this, and so that's just what I chose to do. But it turns out it's exactly what the aliens would tell me to do, right? So I thought, okay, well maybe I work for the aliens, and I've met them. I met this one alien. He's a tall white. He's 8 feet tall, and he comes and visits me in the daytime, and there's no threat. I've never been the least bit afraid of him. He just, you know, walks up or drives up to me in the daytime, gets out of a pickup truck, stands up 8 feet tall, walks over to me and starts talking to me, right? And he's most of our conversation are telepathic, but he can actually speak English. So I've studied. He has a voice box and he can speak English, and I've studied these tall whites extensively online and got to know them. And apparently, I mean, the best way I can put it all together is that I work for these aliens called the tall whites, and I work here on Earth. So I, I've never been regressed hypnotically, so I don't know, and I don't want to be really, because I have my real time memories and the things I've seen and so on, and I go by that, and I think it seems to me that the aliens want me to work for them on Earth, so they don't want to distract me with taking me for a ride in a UFO or anything like that. So I'm not. That's not my main work. Or coming on a show like this and talking about these things is secondary. It's to my real work, which is like I say, environmental engineering, or as I put it, I'm trying to prevent the human species from committing their own genocide, their own extinction. their own extinction, right? Because that's where we're headed. Maybe, and I'm very scientific about it. I can't start talking science on here. Nobody understand what I'm talking about. But we are making a mess of this planet, and so I work in that area, and I have for since the 1980s. I went back to university in the 1980s and upgraded my degrees and got to work, and I worked really hard for no money at all. I just did it because I wanted to do it, and I got into the local environmental situation here, and I got sponsors. People started, buying me computers and cameras and cars and trucks and stuff so I could carry on with my work. But at the same time, I was on a disability pension, so I was poor, but I had everything I needed because I was working hard, and people could see that, and they gave me what I needed to do my job, right? So everything just kind of fell into place. I'm quite happy just living in a place that I got a roof over my head. I had to build it myself mostly, but at least I got a good roof over my head and a computer and all that. But yeah, I don't know. That's what I do, and like I say, I work for the aliens, and that seems to be the case as best as I can put it together. And then I've also met a total of four different kinds of aliens on 8 occasions. And the first time it was the tall white fella. He walked up. He came walking down the sidewalk, and he was walking behind four little short guys. These guys were like all 5'2", walking in front of this guy who appeared to be 6'5" at the time. But this is my first meeting with the guy, and he he came and sat down beside me, and I'm looking down at his legs, and I'm thinking, what? How could anybody have legs that long, eh? And he had to fold up his legs and jam them underneath a desk. And then he put his hand on my desk, and his hand was a foot long with these very long four fingers that I saw, right? And he puts that right on my desk, and he spoke to me. Well, now I'm not the sort of person to freak out. And maybe that's why they chose me. I don't know why they choose me. I don't claim to be anybody special. I have flaws and things I can't do and don't know, but he came up to me and sat down beside me and put his hand on my desk so I could see his hand. And I'd seen his legs and I saw his hands. And this guy, I know right away, hey, this guy's not a human, man. But that happened in 2002. That was my first actual meeting where I knew I was meeting aliens. And he revealed himself to me, but at the same time, he was wearing a mask on his head, which I could see. I could see something on the front of his head. And it was this mask of a human, right? Because he's walking around among the humans on Earth with his four little buddies who are kind of like his bodyguards or whatever, eh? Uh, and and so he wears this mask, right? Because he doesn't want to scare people. And he explained all this to me telepathically, and I I know I'm telepathic. I've tested it 100 times easy, but so I'm chatting with him telepathically, and he's very fast when he thinks and speaks telepathically. But he explained all this to me, and I said to him, "Well, I can see you're wearing a mask. Why are you wearing a mask?" And he turns his face to me with his big smile on his face, right? And he has a sense of humor, and I understood. Back to him, I said, "Oh, okay, I get it. I understand. That's okay. Go ahead, wear your mask." So I said, "That's okay. Wear a mask. I don't care." But I know what you are, And he says, "Yeah, I know you know what I am." And I said, "Yes, I know you know that you're an alien." This is our telepathic communication going back and forth really fast. So his
Mhm.
intelligence is far beyond humans. I mean, he can look into my memory, find an image, and present it in front of my eyes. Okay, he did that one time when this was the third time I met him, and it was up in the mountains. And he came flying over top of me in a helicopter, and he was hanging out the door of a Huey helicopter. Now I'm looking up at this helicopter. I'm thinking, there's no Hueys flying around anymore. They're antiques, right? And it was very unusual that the Huey appeared when I looked up at a certain location in the sky. There it was, right where I looked, and it flew towards me, a few miles towards me. And then as it got closer and closer, I could see, oh, it's a Huey. And then I could see, hey, there's a guy hanging out the side. And when it was right above me circling, I could see the guy hanging out the side, and it was my buddy, my tall white friend. He was hanging out the side of this helicopter, and he had his big smile on his face. But this time I could see his true height, right? His full height of 8 feet, and measure him relative to the helicopter. And so this is how I have learned. When he shows up, he's always teaching me things, and he pushes me to teach me new things, right? And he will only push me in different directions. He doesn't threaten me in any way. He's a pal. He's a buddy. And I was talking to another.
Let me stop you there real quick, Jim. Start right there. I had a couple questions here that came in. So Shelly Montgomery wants to know: were you extremely cold in your company's presence? And also, she had a question of: did they mention returning an object that they want back?
No, I was not cold. If you mean physically, temperature wise, I'm. I have my emotions under control because I've been meditating since I was a teenager. So I control my emotions, if that's what you mean by cold. Now the next question is, did they mention returning an object? No, there was no mention of any objects. No, I don't know what you mean exactly, Shelley, but
Okay.
no.
I think maybe she's trying to correlate. Your experience may sound familiar, and she's trying to see if it lines up with something she may have experienced. But also, here's a question from Derek Galloway asking you, what does the alien look like that visits you during the day?
They all visit me during the daytime. None of this is dreams or drug induced. I don't take any drugs. No downloads or anything like that. It's all in the daytime, usually before noon when I'm widest awake, and I guess they know that. But no, they all just, they have come up to me in the daytime, and just no dreams, no, not at night. I don't wake up. I do not wake up at night and have things in my bedroom. This has never happened to me as far as I know, and I've never been abducted as far as I know either. I mean, and I don't think I want to get hypnotically regressed. I I think hypnotic regression is real, but personally, I think I'd rather remain not hypnotically regressed. So uh, I'm remembering, and I'm telling people uh, what they want me to say. I guess. So whatever, if they have anything hidden from me, I don't know about it. So everything I know about the aliens, they have showed me or told me personally. So, you know, but yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, let me actually open it up to others on the stage, Maggie or Brown Dwarf. If either one of you have a question for Jim, or maybe anything you want to add to what he was saying, or
The whole telepathy thing is really
How what?
interesting.
How?
Telepathy, like mind speak,
Oh,
telepathy,
oh,
talking through your mind.
they're very telepathic. The tall whites are hugely telepathic. I mean, when I do telepathy with the tall white, it's like it's incredible. He has to slow down his mind in order to communicate with me because I know I'm like his pet cat. He's kind of like the way he treats me, I treat my neighbor's cat. And I really like my neighbor's cat. He's a great cat. And that's kind of how the tall white uh, treats me or deals with me. I think so. Now, so he'll try to teach me a simple thing, and then he'll try to teach me a more complicated thing, and then maybe I'm not capable of some of the things he tries to teach me. Well, that's okay. It's kind of like that's the relationship. And then okay, so he's very telepathic. Now the short guys who I speculate were uh, grays, 5'2" grays, dressed up like humans, but their faces were hidden from me. Those guys, they were all telepathic too. Now, there's there's a whole there's a whole bunch of different kinds of grays. Okay, now these are the 5'2" ones who appear to be biological entities with a soul, and they're not that much smarter than humans. I watched them try to solve problems and I laughed at them because they were so funny. They were trying to figure out how to open a door and they couldn't figure it out. And I was laughing at them because I was watching these four short guys trying to open a door and a human door, like a commercial door at the front of a storefront building. So they were trying to open the door and they couldn't figure it out. And I was watching them do this and laughing at them because they're so damn well. They were funny, And then once now they come with the tall white, and they're very much his kind of bodyguard sort of guys, right? And they take care of things around whatever's going on, right? Kind of get in the way of anything that might interfere with my meeting with the tall white fella. And so, for example, the two times I met the tall white with the four short guys, all the other humans around me were looking down at the floor. I glanced around to see what all these other people were doing. They all had their heads bowed and they're looking straight down. They're all in some kind of a trance or other. So somebody, either the tall white or the grays, are putting all these people around us into a trance. So they're all staring down at the floor. Meanwhile, I'm wide awake and I'm chatting with the tall white fella and having communication with him, which was his purpose to come and meet me, I guess. But yeah, that's how that goes. And then okay, so I met I met the tall white and the grays, and they're all telepathic. And then I met the predator up in the mountains, and you'd have to I've researched the predator extensively. He's also called the Shimmer Man, and he's also called the Invisible Sasquatch. And I've read about 35 accounts of the same entity that I've met, and I can put it all together because he has certain limited behaviors that he does. He acts according to a set of rules, so you can identify him that way. Now he appears to be not telepathic. I had no telepathic connection with him. I call him the predator. That's the name I prefer. And I had a typical interaction with him up in the mountains. He did what he always does. He does like three different things, and that's all he ever does. And then he runs away, you know. But interesting creature. I say he's an alien because a UFO was once seen in his vicinity near him, and he behaves like an alien who's just here doing his own research. It's kind of like I no, I shouldn't speculate too far away from what I know for sure. But I won't do that. But anyway, yeah, I met that guy, and then the fourth type I have met only once, and people are not going to believe this, but they were the black-eyed kids, and they yeah, people are not going to believe that story. I haven't written it down yet. I'm going to put it in my book and try to tell it in great detail. But
hold that story real quick, because we got Shelley Montgomery asking you a question, asking, were you also able to feel their emotions? Yes, at least one kind has a sense of humor.
yeah, yes, emotions, yes. Like these four short guys who visited me twice, they are afraid of me. I know they are very much afraid of me, and they stay back. Okay, they always stay. They have a radius. Like they'll stay. Oh, it's about 30 feet, and they will stay beyond that distance from me, or the distance I could travel. If I was a healthy human, I could travel that distance, maybe 4 seconds or something like that. But I'm not. I'm not entirely healthy. I can't move that fast. But anyway, they are afraid of me. These guys, these four little guys, and I telepathically to them, I was saying, "I'm not going to hurt you. I'd like to meet you." You know, I'm smiling at them. I'm thinking, I like you guys. I'm not going to hurt you. There's no way. I never hurt people for no reason. As long as you don't attack me, of course. But yeah, they are telepathic. There's no doubt about that. In fact, they don't seem to speak at all. They only communicate. They communicate with each other telepathically, and I can, I know what they're saying to each other, like in detail. When I first met the four little guys, they were talking to each other. They were outside a glass door, and I was watching them through the glass, and there was four of them, and they were trying to get the door open. So one walks up to the door and heaves on it with all his might, and the door opened about 2 inches and then closed again. He wasn't strong enough to pull the door open. So okay, another guy comes up, and another short guy comes up, and he says to the other, he says, "Get out of the way, get away." He grabs the door and pulls on it, but he can't open it either. He gets it a few more inches open, but then another one of the short guys, he comes over. He says to the other ones, he says, "Come on, two of us got to work together to pull this." So two of them pulled on it, and they pulled as hard as they could, and they almost fell over backwards because of the way that kind of door works. You see, they're just unfamiliar with human doors, right? And they almost fell over backwards, and I was laughing. I was watching this go on, and I think this is crazy, man. These guys are hilarious. They're like the Three Stooges, and so this is why I'm not afraid of them at all. Really, I would like to meet them, and so I knew what they were saying to each other. So they got the door open and they came inside, and then the tall white guy followed them in. He was standing behind them, and he followed them into the room that I was in, and I was sitting at a computer desk working the computer. So by this time, I got tired of watching them. I turned back to my computer and I start working on it. Meanwhile, then the next thing I know, this tall white guy is sitting down at the computer right next to me, and he's I didn't look up at his face at that point. I looked down at his legs, and I could see his legs were crazy long. No human has legs like that. And he was jamming them underneath the desk. I heard the noise as he was sliding his chair and banging his knees up underneath the desk because they didn't fit there, right? And I'm watching this. I'm looking down. I'm thinking, this is not normal. Then that's when he put his hand on my desk right in front of my eyes, like my eyes were 2 feet away from his alien hand, and I'm looking at it. He put it on my desk, and he put his hand on my CD because I had put a CD there on that right-hand side of my desk, and he put his left hand right on top of that CD. Then he spoke to me in English with his voice box, and he said, "What's this? What is this? What's this?" But his voice was peculiar. It sounded high and squeaky, like, "What's this?" And I said, "That's my favorite music." This is what I answered to him. And then he said, "Can I have it? Can I have it?" He says, like he wants to take my CD. And I'm just responding like a human. I mean, a polite human. I said, "Well, you can listen to it if you like, put it in the computer. You're right there. Just put it in the computer and listen to it." And then he says, "Thanks." He
Right.
says, I thought this was also so hilarious. He says, "Thanks." And he stands up again, and I'm watching him go up as he's standing up. Yeah, oh, by the way, he scooped up my CD with his hand, with his extremely long fingers, which curled right around the CD. I don't even know how he got it up off the desk because I can't. My
Jim,
hand doesn't function like that. Anyway, he scooped it up, and he stood up, and he walks away with my CD, and I'm thinking, what the hell's going on here? I've just been robbed or mugged or something.
Hey
These,
Jim,
yeah, yeah,
I gotta get you to wrap this one up, man. You've been on for like 40 minutes. We gotta get to the other people too.
yeah. That's all on my YouTube page. I explain a lot, I tell a lot of these stories, and I'm retelling that one. So, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. No, you're all good, man. I know you get into your stories. You've been on here before. You've been on stage and you've told some stories, so I know you get into them and you're very descriptive, which is awesome. And we definitely want to hear more of that. But I want to make sure that everybody can get involved because I know Maggie. She came in. She was actually, she came in earlier. She's still here with us, but she wanted to take the conversation in a direction about the face peeling thingies. So, Maggie, if you want to kind of elaborate on how you want to take that conversation, and we'll kind of do that right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't really know. I remember it was on your show last year, maybe. The video of the corpse with the skin sort of peeled down to the neck and the skull was bleached sort of white. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, the fact that it was done with lasers, isn't that like very similar to potentially? I don't really know. Um. Oh. Oh, the cows.
Yeah.
Mutilations. That's the
Yeah.
word I'm looking for. Sorry, I was put on the spot. Isn't that similar? Like with the way that it's cauterized? Potentially, I don't know. I've never seen it myself. I can't look to see whether it's cauterization or not. I don't really know. But isn't the process very similar to how there's no blood, no telltale signs of anybody actually like hacking apart? And do we attribute cow mutilations? And I have heard, I think it was Linda Moulton Howe who said that kangaroos are also mutilated in Australia. There are reports of other animals. It's obviously not just
Oh yeah.
cows, according to that, anyway. Um, you know, so would you just naturally assume that it's aliens that are doing that? And if they are, why are they doing it? And doesn't it represent a threat if they're doing it to humans?
Great questions, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember when we actually talked about that when that first came out. They had this image of a person that was supposedly one of the people that these face pillars got a hold of, and their entire face was gone. It was just the skeleton, and
Mm.
you could see the cutout mark of the face, like it peeled the face off. And one of the things that we were looking at and talking about at that time was the fact that the actual skeleton of the face was white. It was like, and normally when you peel someone's face off, the bone that gets exposed is more of a darker color, and it doesn't get white until it's like exposed to, I think someone said, like a high heat, unless it's high heat, which would make it turn white, or if it had been bleached sitting in the sun for too long. And that, yeah, so I know exactly the conversation you're talking about. Now, yeah, it did mimic, or it sort of definitely looked like the same thing that those cows do experience when they find those mutilated cows and other animals as well, as you pointed out. I've heard of people say that there are such things as people mutilations, and that, I think that's kind of where we left that conversation kind of in the air, because it was we were kind of hung up on the fact that if it had just happened, would the bone already be as white as it was? Because usually that takes time if you're sitting in the sun for that to happen. Or someone pointed out that, well, it could happen if when it was done, that person had been exposed to high levels of heat, which would also turn it white. And so that's kind of where we left it. But it's an interesting conversation because, if they are doing that, then it is a threat. The face peeler thing, just to kind of go back, that was the one they tried to explain off as looters, or what they say, miners in the Amazon jungle that had jetpacks, that were wearing jetpacks, for crying out loud. I obviously, that sounds, it's terrestrial, and you're like, well, it's terrestrial, it should make sense, but no, it really doesn't make sense, because they wouldn't have jetpacks. They would have heard they were jetpacks. I'm leaning into the theory that they definitely are aliens doing exactly what you're describing. Go ahead.
Yeah, was there ones with float? Was it floating? I can see the footage in my head. I'm just not very good at explaining it out loud. Um, wasn't there 10 foot around the same time as the? It all happened at the same time. There was the Las Vegas one with the ring camera in the back garden on the that JCB digger thing, and
Yes.
then there was the dude with his face peeled, and then there was 10 foot something or others floating through. Uh, I can't remember where it was. Some rainforest, some place like that, and there was video footage of something
Yes.
floating. Is that?
That's the same
Or,
incident. Yeah. The
yeah,
face incident. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah. So
that was out of Peru, I believe.
Yes.
And yeah, they call it the pelacaras, the face
Yes.
peelers. And it's interesting because to me, because Peru is one of those hot spots. You know, Latin America happens to have a lot of hot spots, and Peru is one of them with a lot of rich alien UFO history. And it's interesting that that case, that particular the person with that face like that you're describing kind of reminds me a little bit also of the Varginha case out of Brazil, which is a neighboring country. And yeah, it makes you wonder. But I do think there's a lot of yeah, other stuff going on. So there's something going on there with the mining as well. So it could be that you know it is tied to that. But like I say, with the rich history there, you never know. What was another thing that came to mind? Oh yeah, so you mentioned so it was like yeah, back to back. It was the Peruvian situation going on, and then after you had the Vegas, and then following that you had the Miami incident, and there was other stuff going on that was you know around the world that was going on at the same time, but those were really hitting mainstream and very interesting stuff.
Yeah, and
yeah,
actually down there, down in Southern America, there's reports going back historically of weird things like that going on. That's more why I lean into that is definitely something there because they told stories about that for years. Pelicadas, that wasn't anything new. That was in their folklore. So
Mm.
and then to have an incident happen that showed those results kind of made me feel like okay, this just more evidence that obviously that's where the mummies were found, the ones that everybody said was a hoax, and maybe they are still a hoax, but we'll find out once they test them. But there seems to be a lot of stuff. And if I were an alien coming here to Earth, first of all, since the invention of lights and things of that nature, you can see where people are. You can see where the populated areas are, and then you can see dark areas where likely people probably aren't or shouldn't be. And I think that would be the rainforest. They would probably land there if they were going to come in and wanted to be on ground. I would see them doing that, which would explain why there would be so much activity down there. And they happen to run across indigenous tribes down there and have these experiences. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't know. What do you think about that? Jim, you can chime in too. I know you're on stage if you have something to say about the palacatas.
Yeah, I had to unmute. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we could hear you.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting how a different continent has a different paranormal situation, right? Like they got the chupacabra down there, and oh man, all kinds of wild stuff going on in South America on a different continent. And then you see, you see similarities in the European continent. You have different kinds of things. They got fairies and little people who live in boulders and all that sort of thing in Iceland or around there. So it's interesting that you have different paranormal situations on different continents. Now I can't think of any reason why that would be. I just don't know. But here in North America, we got the Bigfoots and stuff like that, and then and we have local cryptids here that you don't have anywhere else in North America. And we got we got the Loch Ness monster here, but it lives in the ocean, and it's the same creature, and that's all over. They got those in across Canada. They've got other other of those kind of cryptids, and then we have another one here that nobody else has. It's a two-headed serpent that lives in water. Usually, it's a large snake type thing with two heads, and each head is double the size of a horse's head and shaped kind of like a horse's head, but double the size. And I met a guy who saw one recently in recent years, and I also met an old indigenous knowledge keeper whose grandma. Now, this lady who was telling me this, she's a
Now, now, Jim, before we go off track, we specifically want to address the South American stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the face peelers. Yeah,
yeah,
I believe what the people say. I believe the experiencers, and it's some kind of a cryptid or other. Now, in my model, there's a lot of different aliens visiting Earth, and I tend to blame everything on the aliens, which, I mean, I tell you that out loud so you know what I'm thinking or where I'm coming from, my paradigm, so to speak. And I think they're another kind of alien. They come from other planets or dimensions or whatever, but they are aliens to Earth. And there's some people have estimated there's 180 some odd different species of aliens visiting Earth, and I kind of, I follow that paradigm. I'm in that paradigm, and I know other people have other paradigms, but that's where I'm at. And I should tell people what my paradigms are, right? That's so yeah, they got those face peelers down there, and I believe what the people said. I mean, what happened is what they say, and I watched the documentaries where there was an American guy who knows that culture. He lived in that culture, and he went with some more guys, took some people down there, a whole team. They went down there, interviewed the village people, and got all their stories and all that. I watched that video. I don't know if anybody's seen that.
That's Timothy Alberino.
Yeah, that's the information I accept. I that's my raw data. That's evidence to me, because it's would be evidence in a court of law when people give testimony. Their testimony is evidence in a court of law, according to that definition of the word evidence, right? So I believe those people, and yes, they saw what they saw, and I speculate it's another kind of alien, because I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of aliens. A lot.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Jim. I think that's a great point, and I think that's actually could explain some of this stuff and why some of this stuff seems to be regional. Because, like I said, yeah, if you have a certain species coming down to the planet, it's just like us. If we were to visit a planet, which we will at some point down the line, and we'll want to find the best spot to land. If it's already inhabited by something that's intelligent and we can see where they live regionally, chances are we're not going to land where their population center is. Chances are we'll land somewhere where we can gather ourselves and kind of where we feel the safest to be able to set up shop and then maybe branch out from there if we're going to do that. So it makes sense in that aspect, and it makes sense that regardless what species that these are deciding to go to places that they feel like are uninhabited, and but then running across humans and then having these sorts of experiences. What I want to do is, because we're now running up on the end of the second hour, tonight being the first show back, I just wanted to kind of go a couple hours and kind of get our feet wet before we start getting back into this every week. This show will go every single week. We will do the call-in show, and someone had a great idea over at Space Out Radio that I didn't even think about, which was sending the audience over directly from the show over here to this show, which is what I'm going to do next time. I didn't even think about that. I'm like, oh, I should have did that. So I'm going to do that.
You're just being humble, Rob G. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, you're right. I just know that our people are going to be here, but yeah, I would love to direct others, because I think once they get over here and they see what we're talking about and who we are and all that stuff, you kind of resonate with people that are like you, and you kind of just get that feeling. And I think that's what would probably happen. And then there, like I said, there's some that are only around for stories, and that's cool, and maybe they don't come, but people who are wanting to have these mental exercises and talk through the situation is that's what I like to see over here. So we're gonna make sure we do that. Any last thoughts on this subject here?
Yeah, well, I first of all, I appreciate you letting me jump on, Rob G, and it was
Anytime,
a
buddy.
good time. Yeah, it was a good time rocking with Maggie and Bim over here, and yeah, no, any last things? Man, I hope to do this again soon. I'm really glad you're back on, jumping, doing this, and giving us an opportunity to jump on with you, man. I think it's a good thing. Keep doing it, and I'm gonna keep sharing your channel out over on my page, and yeah, man, I got a lot of guests for you as well, man. You know, the other night you were having people send you potential guests and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So yeah, I got plenty of people that I would like to line up with you that are good people. And yeah, so keep it
let's
up,
do
Rob
that.
G. And good night, everyone.
Appreciate you, Randorf. And also, I have that my experience with the phenomenon. We talked about doing that. I would love to have you. So next Friday is Jim White. So maybe the following Friday, which is I think October, the first Friday in October,
Okay.
if you're open to that, and then we
Okay. So in October, I believe the 5th, I'm gonna be heading out. I'm heading back up north into the field. So
okay
hopefully it's before
following.
then. And if not, yeah, we could line up anytime. Just give me the heads up, and we'll make that happen.
Okay, and then also those guests that you have, shoot me some info on that because I'm booking now, so I'll definitely appreciate that.
I
And
got you.
Maggie M10, you got
Yep.
anything you want to leave everybody with tonight?
Just thank you very much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure as always. Um, I love to think about this stuff. I don't really have many opinions on it, but I do like to think about it, and I do like to share what I think. And I just appreciate the chance to talk about it. And thanks to Brand Wolf and Bim Jim as well. And thanks to everyone in chat. And thank you.
You're awesome, Maggie. I can't wait for your channel to start. It's coming. I could hear the confidence in your voice. Speak well, and I can't wait. I'll be so happy the day I see it happen. So thanks for coming, Maggie. Thanks for being a member as well, and thanks for being here since pretty much the beginning. It'll always be appreciated. You were the first super chat I ever received on this channel. I'm indebted to you, and you will see. You'll I don't know what it's gonna be, but there's something coming back your way at some point in the future. Just know, okay.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right,
Take
man.
care.
You two have a good rest of your night. And Jim, do you have a final word you want to leave with everybody here before we go in and wrap it on up?
I wanted to say bye to Maggie. I
Oh, she
love her
good.
voice.
Yeah, she's
I,
in the crowd. She hears you.
yeah, I lived in Australia for a while, and when I hear the accent again, it takes me back. I speak that language. I say, yeah, no worries, mate. So I'm fully bilingual in Canadian and Australian. Love the
Yeah.
Aussies, that's for sure. Oh man, I had so much fun down there in Australia. Oh, what a wild time! And I met the indigenous people too, eh? And that's where I first saw ghosts as well down in Australia. That was one of my early paranormal experiences when I was 21, I guess. And yeah, so yeah, I'm
Well,
connected
we'll,
to
we'll
the
have
Aussies.
we'll have to get you back on to talk about that, Jim. Because, like I said, I know you get into these stories. You've told stories on here before, and I know once you get into them, you tell them to the end. And so I understand that, and I respect it, and I love it, and I want you to keep doing it. But I definitely also want to see about getting you on one of these other shows. So I have my experience with the phenomenon where you would simply come on and just talk about one of your experiences. So I know you detailed a few tonight. Maybe we can get you on that show to pick one of your very best intriguing encounters and then coming on to talk about that. So would you be open to doing that?
Oh, sure. Although I'm not good at appointments and being on time. I'm bad at that. This is why I just pop up once in a while. I happen to be awake, and
Uh,
but yeah, well, we can make a date, and I'll do my best to make the date.
yeah.
Now, do I send you an email? Is that how that
Yeah,
works?
if you send me an email, that way I have a direct contact with you. It's Mr. Rob G, just like you see on the screen here, Mr. Rob G at gmail.com.
Okay.
and then just send me a note, let me know it's you, and then we'll arrange something. And because I said, if we can get that story concisely in that show, I think it'll be a really awesome show. So outside of that, Jim, I do appreciate you coming in, and I really do appreciate your support, because I see you always in the chat, regardless what show we have going on. You do pop up and you do show your love and your support. So it is appreciated, man. And we're going to be talking soon here.
Okay. Well, I'll sign out then if you like, and I got another cup of coffee here.
That's right. Hey, I'm gonna make me probably a small little mixed drink after this, man. But have a good rest of your night, and we will talk really soon here.
Okay. Bye for now.
All right, Jim. Take care. All right, everybody. We are getting ready to wrap it up, right? I wanted to make sure we got our feet wet. We talked about a few good things, and this is really how it goes. I would love to have you guys at any time we do this to, put forward a topic that you want to talk about. Because I always say, and I said this before when we were doing the show, I've just talked for 3 hours on the After Hours show and put on the show there. And I am open to talking here, but I want to hear from you guys. That's how this is set up, for it to be a call-in show, for you to call in and for you guys to talk about experiences. I definitely want to thank Maggie for coming in, who is an awesome member. She definitely joined our membership, which I definitely want to bring back up as well, just so everyone knows that we do have these memberships available online. And actually, you can click on the description at the bottom of every show that we do. There's a link there. There's also a link there to subscribe if you haven't not considered subscribing yet. That would be an awesome thing to do and would definitely be appreciated. Either way it goes, whether you're a member or not, you will always have access to the content that we do here. It's just that being a member basically sets it up where we can do things like hire editors and do things to kind of bring you the very best show possible. It allows me to get out there on the road with Brown Dwarf and film some things that way. And so your support is awesome and appreciated if you're able to do so. But if you're not, still at least tune in as a subscriber, because there's value in you just showing up and supporting the show. So with that being said, I want to show as well as we have these other shows that we do here. So right now, as you see on the screen, you're at the Social Dig Late Night Call-In Show. We'll be doing these every Saturday at 11:30 p.m. And that could vary. It could be 11:15. Just depends on, I want to give myself at least 15 minutes right after I finish the other show to come in and get set up for this one. But look for it right around 11:15, 11:30 every Saturday, right after the After Hours show. We also have the Social Dig show, right, which is a whole different format. If you haven't seen that, make sure you go over in our archive here and check out the last one we did on what are UFOs. Are they adversarial? Are they government? Or they alien tech? That was an awesome show, and you'll see the difference in how the formats of the shows are. And then as we aired last night with our guy, Drew Banky, every Friday at 5 p.m., we'll be doing My Experience with the Phenomena, where we have viewers like yourself come on and tell a story about an experience that you had. The same thing I was just mentioning to Jim here and Brown Dwarf as well. So we strive to put on some great content for you guys, and would appreciate if you aren't subscribed to hit the subscribe button and notification bell, because this is where we're at. You're coming in at the base level, and we are already putting on shows like these. And as our memberships grow and things like that, this channel is going to get nothing but better, more high quality. And I'll be able to bring you pretty much anything that you request at that point. I really want to get out on the road, film some things, and actually, talked with Brown Dwarf, getting out there, boots on the ground, and getting out to some of these disclosure events and showing up at Congress or some other place where we could get our voice heard as far as trying to move this needle. So with that being said, it would all be appreciated. I definitely want to thank everybody for coming on here as we go ahead and get our go home music going here. I want to hop in the chat and thank everybody that I can see with my lion eyes. Magneticus Attractors, thanks for coming in. I know we'll see you soon, buddy. Bomber, thanks for coming in. Love you, love. Dr. Love, thanks for coming in. Joe Monk, appreciate you showing on up here tonight. Thanks for coming to Social Dig. Fast Hemi, thanks for coming. Once again, Bim Jim, thanks for coming. Maggie M10, Human Data, thanks for coming on in. Flat 6 in the building, thanks for coming in. We appreciate you. Poncho Zork, thanks for showing up tonight. And Joanne, thanks for showing up. We appreciate you. JSCO77, thanks for coming on in. Brown Dwarf, always appreciate you, sir. We're going to definitely be doing big things going forward. Jessica S., thanks for coming on in. Pleasure having you here as always. You're always supportive of things that are going on out there. Shelly Montgomery, thank you so much for your questions and your support here tonight. You were awesome. As we keep going back in the list, Mike Laurie, appreciate you coming on in. Thank you for showing up. Mike Bothwell, yes sir, thanks for coming in. Thanks for supporting the show tonight. No, there's more here. Make sure I get everybody, because we have the time to do that here. Let's see, we had another new name that I saw there. Let me keep going here. King of Kampala, thank you for coming on in. Appreciate your support. Thanks for showing up tonight. Awesome stuff. Let's see. Don't want to miss a soul. If Woo Riders DG, Derek Galloway, thanks for coming in. We appreciate you coming to the show tonight. Like I said, you see the list here. You see the shows, what times they come on. Set your notification bell. We're just trying to move the needle for the rest of humanity and have these conversations. And maybe next time we get you on stage, it would be awesome, because I want to hear from everyone. Everyone's voice is important in trying to get this thing moving. So Lulu Bell, thanks so much for coming on in. Appreciate you showing up. And I think that almost covers everybody. Nope, Thirsty. Appreciate you, Thirsty, for showing on up tonight. We had a good turnout. I think that's awesome. Race Fan with the gold. Thank you for coming in, Race Fan, tonight. Appreciate you showing up. You guys show so much love and support. I appreciate it. Over here and at the After Hours. Overlander BC, thanks for coming. Let's see. We are moving. We are moving down the list. Okay, I think that's everything. Lil Cam 51 over on Twitch. Thanks for coming on in. Wasn't gonna miss you, buddy. Desiree White, thank you so much for showing up tonight. We appreciate you. And that looks like that is it. If I missed you, I didn't mean to do that. I do appreciate everything you guys have done here. Making us number one, man. We going to number one here at the Social Dig, guys. And we're going to move the needle for humanity. Thanks so much for you guys coming in. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your night. See you at the After Hours tomorrow. And see you back here at the Social Dig on Wednesday, when we go ahead and jump into some more great content. Outside of that, you guys take care. See you next time.